A simple milk can falling into Ren's hands would have become the biggest weapon for breaking out of prison. But when Ren opened the can, a thick, shiny sheet of plastic came out. Seizing the chance, he stuck that sheet onto the prison gate, carefully pressing it over the password lock. When a guard typed the password, the guard's fingerprints left clear impressions on the sheet. Using an elimination method, Ren quickly worked out the correct password combination. But the real challenge remained: how to reach the outside handle on the gate. Ren wet pieces of toilet paper, rolled them into small balls, and mixed them with toothpaste to make a sticky paste. He spread those onto a large sheet of paper and fashioned a strange, gooey weapon. To do all this, he had to avoid the cameras, so beforehand he had carefully watched the guards' daily routine. Every time the guards locked him in a cell, they went outside to smoke and kill time. During those times, the monitoring rooms were empty for 7 minutes. That was his biggest window of opportunity. He knew 3 things were essential to escape. First, the complete details of the guard's routine. Second, an accurate understanding of the prison's layout. And third, a reliable accomplice on the outside. Ren had the first 2 covered. He'd also found a weak spot attached to the prison, a fire station built up against the prison wall. He even had information about the location of the black cell. After planning everything in his head, he began to put the plan into action. He deliberately struck a fellow inmate and injured him. Just as he'd calculated, the guards punished him by locking him in the black cell. When the guards brought his food, Ren quietly slipped the little paper balls into the small window latch, causing that latch to open easily. The password was only 4 digits, which Ren cracked in a snap. After getting out of the black cell, he hacked the monitoring system and played footage that was 1 minute old, so the guards wouldn't get suspicious. Then he located the ventilation pipeline that connected to the fire station. While the guards were busy smoking, Ren crawled through that duct and wriggled his way outside. Outside, his accomplice was already ready. They detonated a small explosive in a car to trigger the fire alarm. The guards rushed to check the CCTV footage, but everything seemed perfectly normal. In the chaos, Ren slipped into the fire station. He quickly stole a firefighter's uniform and hid underneath a fire truck. Taking advantage of the confusion, he rode along with the truck to the incident site. And from there, he got into his partner's car and escaped safely. This was Ren's 14th prison break, which revealed that he wasn't an ordinary criminal at all. His real job was to test prison security systems. In fact, he was the owner of a private security company. That's why he would deliberately get himself imprisoned under false pretenses, escape using his own skills, and then demonstrate whether the prison's security needed improvement. He had escaped from so many prisons that people began saying, this man could escape from anywhere. One day, a few CIA agents approached him. They told him he needed to go to an extremely high-security, classified prison, whose name and location could not be disclosed to anyone. The mission was very dangerous. Still, Ren agreed. The millions of dollars they offered were too tempting to refuse. They gave Ren a new identity and a secret exit code, which he could use to escape if necessary. Before he left, they also implanted a tracking device in his body. Soon the day came when he was supposed to get himself arrested on purpose, but suddenly a group of men kidnapped him and gave him electric shocks. Before he could understand what was happening, they ripped the tracking device from his body and knocked him unconscious. When Ren opened his eyes, he found himself in a strange prison. Every cell was made of glass, and cameras were everywhere. Every prisoner was under constant 24-hour surveillance. The entire prison seemed to be suspended in the air, making the idea of digging an escape route impossible. Seeing this, Ren realized he was trapped in a terrifying situation. He immediately spoke the secret code he'd been given to escape, but the prison warden, a cold, calculating man, ignored him and locked him up again. Soon Ren realized that the warden had a personal grudge with someone from Ren's past. Possibly one of his old enemies was involved in this. Before long, Ren noticed that the guards there were heavily armed, all wearing black masks, constantly patrolling and ready to torture or kill anyone they wanted. There was a horrific torture chamber in the prison. Entering it meant being blinded by intense light and scorched by unbearable heat. Still, Ren endured the pain and began examining the entire chamber carefully. While investigating, he noticed a nail or bolt fixed into one of the steel plates on the floor. At that very moment, an idea flashed into his mind. When he got out of the chamber, he started forming a plan. Now, Ren desperately needed someone's help to escape. Just then, when he was beginning to establish his cover, a man named Tyson approached him, wanting to be friends. There was a strange glint in Tyson's eyes. He looked directly at Ren and asked, "What do you need?" Ren didn't hide anything either. He answered straight away, "I need a shiny sheet of iron that will reflect light. If you can get that for me, our friendship is sealed." Tyson agreed to the proposal. He went straight to the jailer and started taunting him with all sorts of insults, which infuriated the warped man and got Tyson sent to the torture room. But Tyson used the opportunity cleverly. He managed to open the drain cover in the cell. After taking a beating, he handed that cover to Ren. Ren thought to himself, "This guy is one clever player." Impressed by Tyson's cleverness, Ren revealed his true identity, that he was a jailbreak expert. He then explained his analysis. This prison was actually built as a vertical structure, meaning it extended deep below ground. While Ren had been in the torture room, he'd heard the sound of water beneath the floor, suggesting there was a water-carrying pipeline below that might serve as an escape route. After learning this, Tyson deliberately picked a fight with the jailer's thugs, the Marco brothers. Meanwhile, Ren secretly hid a piece of bread in his hand. As planned, when Marco's men caused a riot in the prison, the guards sent both Ren and Tyson to the torture room. As soon as they got there, Ren quickly removed the drain cover and used its reflective surface to focus light onto the bolts in the room's walls. The intense heat caused the bolts to start melting one by one, and within seconds, he had them all undone. Then, with a piece of bread in his mouth, he signaled Tyson to draw the guards' attention to himself. Tyson began his part, making sure the jailer's attention was fully on him. Ren didn't waste a moment. He pressed the wet bread onto the CCTV camera to block the internal feed, then pried up the floor, dropped down, and crawled into the pipeline. Unfortunately, halfway through, a wire accidentally snapped and water began gushing out. By the time he climbed back up, it felt as if the ground had shifted beneath his feet, because he realized the prison wasn't underground at all, but built on a gigantic ship out at sea, a mega ship. In other words, escaping from here was almost impossible. Meanwhile, the broken pipe began leaking water into the prison. As a result, the torture room started flooding, forcing the guards to release the prisoners trapped inside. Luckily, Ren managed to slip back unnoticed just in time and saved himself, but the danger was far from over. The jailer soon noticed the scattered bolts on the floor and immediately realized that Ren had attempted an escape. He made a call right away, and that's when a horrifying truth came out. The person who had framed Ren in this prison was none other than his own business partner, Lester. Lester, driven by greed for full control of their company, had orchestrated the entire conspiracy. From the very next day, Ren's nightmare truly began. Whenever he tried to sleep, the guards would wake him and beat him mercilessly. Days passed like this, his body broken, his mind fading into exhaustion and delirium. Eventually, his condition became so severe that the guards had to drag him to the medical room. His body was covered in wounds, his eyes filled with pain, and his spirit nearly crushed. Yet Ren refused to give up. Even the doctor who examined him was shocked by the extent of the torture. After a few days, the torture stopped, and Ren began planning again. Pretending to eat, he secretly started building a direction detector under the table using whatever scraps he could find. Around this time, he reconciled with Marco and recruited him to his side. Together, the three, Ren, Tyson, and Marco, devised a bold new plan. According to the plan, the Marco approached the jailer and lied, saying, "We have secret information that must be delivered to someone on the deck." Hearing this, the jailer granted them permission to go up to the deck. Once there, Marco began taking measurements with the direction detector. But for Ren, that alone wasn't enough. He noticed something strange. When they looked over the edge of the deck at the water below, the current was moving counterclockwise. That could only mean one thing. A far bigger mystery was waiting to be uncovered. After analyzing all the data, Ren reached a decisive conclusion. He was in the Northern Hemisphere. Then, from a new prisoner, he learned that it was currently November. Matching this with his own body temperature and the surrounding environment, he deduced that the weather was likely near the coast of Morocco. After much effort, they were finally able to pinpoint the exact location of the prison. Knowing the location was one thing, but the bigger question remained: how to get out of there? That's when Tyson said, "If we can somehow get a message to my people, no one will be able to stop our escape from this prison." Hearing this, Ren realized the prison doctor might be able to help. They devised a plan. Tyson would deliberately attack Ren so that he would be sent to the infirmary for treatment. Following the plan, Ren began feigning illness every day to see the doctor. Gradually, the doctor grew sympathetic toward him. Unable to bear his suffering, the doctor eventually agreed to help. It was then revealed that the doctor himself had been a life-sentenced prisoner. He promised Ren, "I will get your message to your family," that is, to Tyson's people. In this way, the doctor secretly transmitted Ren's message to the outside world. All preparations were complete, but that very night, the jailer noticed Ren tapping something on the wall. It turned out to be Morse code. The jailer quickly decoded it. It read, "There will be a riot in C Block tomorrow morning." A cold sweat ran down the jailer's spine. He immediately deployed triple security to C Block, but no one knew that was Ren's masterstroke. The real riot was about to occur in his own block, where there were only 2 guards. The next morning, as planned, 2 gangs erupted into a brutal fight with each other. Taking advantage of the chaos, Ren, Tyson, and Marco made their move to escape. While running, Ren deliberately stopped in front of a camera and stared at the jailer with a taunting smile, as if challenging him. Enraged, the jailer ordered, "Lock every gate!" But by then, it was too late. The 3 of them were already crawling up through the pipeline toward the prison roof. When they reached close to the deck, an electronic gate suddenly blocked their path. The only way to open it was to shut down the entire prison's power system. It was an incredibly risky move. Shutting down the power could have revealed their location. Meanwhile, the jailer was already tracking them through motion detectors and had ordered all guards to give chase. During the escape, Marco was shot. Realizing he couldn't survive, he told his friends, "You run, I'll hold them off." Marco stayed behind to slow down the guards, while Ren raced toward the power core of the ship. Finally, Ren reached the core and shut down the ship's entire power system. The electronic gate above opened, and Tyson quickly made it to the deck. By sheer luck, a helicopter had arrived at that exact moment, but Tyson's determination wouldn't let him leave Ren behind. He grabbed a machine gun and began firing at the approaching guards. Meanwhile, Ren hid in a water tank, making it nearly impossible for anyone to find him. The jailer realized what was happening and ordered, "Restart the ship." As soon as the system came back online, the tank automatically flushed, and Ren was swept straight into the sea. The jailer was left stunned. At that moment, Tyson tossed a gun to Ren. Ren grabbed it and fired several rounds. The bullets hit the oil drums behind the jailer, causing a massive explosion that instantly killed him. With everything finally calm, Ren and Tyson crossed the sea and reached the coast of Africa. Suddenly, a car pulled up. A woman stepped out, none other than Jessica, the one who had first offered Ren this mission. It was then that Ren realized the full truth. The entire operation had been orchestrated by Jessica, Tyson's daughter. She had sent Ren into the prison to rescue her father, and it was Ren's intelligence and determination that made the impossible mission succeed. Finally, a calm, satisfied smile spread across Ren's face, marking the end of this story of struggle, cunning, and an unyielding spirit.